Hello everybody, Mr. Constitution, Douglas V. Gibbs here at your service, and what I'm getting ready to play for you is not a video I just now am doing, but on April 8th, 2023 on KMET 1490 AM, KMET 1490 AM.com, or you can go to douglasvgibbs.com/radio. And this is a kind of a rant I had last Saturday on my radio program that I call Political Weaponry, and I thought you might appreciate what I had to say on the radio show. So rather than just do a video here in the studio, this is last Saturday, KMET 1490 AM, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs. Enjoy.
There's the recent indictment of President Donald J. Trump, and it doesn't surprise me that it happened because I am a firm believer that the Democratic Party platform has a whole list of things, but at the very top of their platform, the very top of the list is hate Trump. I think that's their number one platform item. And what happened was an obvious abuse of power. It was a weaponization of the courts for the purpose of politically targeting their opposition. And I've been asked a lot of, about what I thought and all that. And I've got a few quick responses. One, they got no business going through a state court since the accusations are all based on items that occurred in New York while he was in Washington, D.C. Therefore, it crosses the New York state line, crosses, matter of fact, a few states from Washington, D.C. to New York. And so, therefore, it should have been a federal prosecutor and a federal court. But instead, after all, the federal prosecutor said, no, we're not stupid enough to do something like that. Alvin Bragg, who ran on going after his political opposition and Trump, decided to grab the reins. And so we've got the state criminal court located there in Manhattan in a district that is 1% registered Republican, 12% voted for Trump. Yeah, he can get a fair trial. And over misdemeanors have been turned into felonies and are basically federal issues rather because of the crossing of state lines rather than local. But hey, who cares? We can go after Trump. So the founding fathers, so what would they think about this? Well, the answer is simple. They created the system the way they did in hopes to avoid this kind of political weaponry that we are seeing rising up. The point of the Constitution, the principles of the American system, was to make sure this kind of thing was not happening. This is the kind of stuff the British Empire did. This is the kind of stuff the nobles, the monarchy, and the British Parliament did. This is the kind of games that were being played that we fought an American Revolution over. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that they believe that with the writing of the Constitution and going up against this stuff and getting rid of it, that such political shenanigans would become impossible. They recognized human nature. They knew that tyrants will act tyrannical, criminals will act criminally, liars lie, charlatans deceive. They would not be surprised at what's going on today. That federal republic they created that was designed to guard against such corruption and evil has been unable to stop such corruption and evil. Maintaining liberty and keeping the republic, it was understood, would always be a challenging exercise. Except for the nationalists and monarchists who followed the lead of Alexander Hamilton, the founding fathers were hopeful that the federal government would remain within the limitation of powers afforded to it by the U.S. Constitution, that the people who populated the halls of government would possess the kind of sacred honor needed to keep the system on a virtuous path of liberty. They were enlightened thinkers. They were the age of enlightenment, it was called. While they viewed the potential of the United States as being something that would ultimately impact the world in a positive manner and would ascend to a level of an empire due to the emulation of its liberty worldwide, they also recognized that the path of the United States depended upon the moral fiber of its people and its leaders, and whether or not the various checks and balances were to remain in place. Among the mechanisms in place to secure the liberty, people like James Madison and Thomas Jefferson recognized that the key component here was checks and balances. But all of that even falls apart if the states are not performing their duties as crucial instruments of oversight over everything the federal government and its officers do, including all three branches of government. In other words, the states need to be involved, and they're not. The collective deliberation of the founding of this country may have been achieved by committees, delegations, and legislative processes, but their experiences and research of history revealed that the danger of tyranny lurked behind the corners of each part of government. During the Constitutional Convention in 1787, each of the branches of government were expected to have active roles in their duties, but the states were expected to act as a check against tyranny, and the executive and judicial branches were never supposed to possess the same or greater political advantages as the legislators. It was hoped the federal court system would serve as a critical part of maintaining the stability of the entire federal system, but the courts were not to possess any legislative or executive authorities, and the judges were expected to remain outside of the meanderings of the political factions as they battled for position in the legislative and executive branches. Judges were supposed to be apolitical, only caring about the law and applying the law and adhering to strict instructions through the United States Constitution, and not caring about political factions. The system was designed to protect against any faction gaining too much power and to ensure any minority political voice was legally secure against any domination by another political voice. The separation of powers was not only inserted between the branches, but their bureaucracy as well. However, such concepts are not self-enforcing. Washington's not going to fix itself. Government's not going to keep itself from becoming tyrannical. Corruption is not going to stop itself from becoming corrupt. A general adherence to the various principles of the United States system of government was expected, which means that creative or politically angled adaptations would exist and be applied. But the only way to guard against such a thing was for the people to be informed and involved, for the people and the office holders to be virtuous in their manners and proceedings, and for good men to ensure that when bad men attempt to seize power, that they are stopped before they can do such damage. James Madison voiced that he doubted that judges would have the political courage to apply the law in the manner expected, and he doubted those seeking power and position would ever be assuaged by the printing of a constitution on pages of parchment. But he defended what he had been written, not because he believed it to be infallible, but because he never doubted the moral value of those who stood firm in defense of liberty. He believed that in the end, the good sense of the people and office holders who understood the principles of liberty would defend all that was right and good about the system. A legislature, judiciary, and executive branch serves the people, and they are supposed to be the efficacy of such a system, and that should prevail if it is not corrupted by influence from outside sources bent on controlling the governmental process. Bodies of government are unable to fulfill their prescribed duties if they become too smug in their supremacy, or become tools serving those who truly believe it is they who reign. The misuse of power has always been a concern. We fought the Revolutionary War to combat the evils of tyranny grown within the system. Corruption of government is always a concern, and no system is truly completely guarded against such intrusions. The defects in government today, however, are not the result of defects in the Constitution or the principles our system was founded upon. Sure, there are a few flaws that ought to be corrected. I would rejoice if ever the 16th and 17th Amendments were repealed. Certain parts of the Constitution were properly clarified, and if the legislative process saw fit to write the Federal Reserve into obscurity. But in the end, the defects that exist are not defects as much as they are manipulations that have been orchestrated by characters who seek power, wealth, and control. The problems are not inherent. They are being perpetrated against our system by those who seek to undermine it. Merit of law and individuals is not considered. Only the desire to corrupt the system so much that it is demanded by the government that a new system be created, one that promises safety and security, even if it means losing access to their liberties. Donald J. Trump came along and disrupted the process of fundamentally transforming America into something the founding fathers never intended. The tyrants were alarmed that he existed outside the system, understood what they were up to, and was more than willing to stick a stick in their spokes. Then this would eventually lead to a crash than all they had worked towards. He was a greater threat to their evil than the American people themselves, and he alerted the population of what they were up to. He encouraged us to recognize the fundamental principles of our federal republic, to recognize that we are a people who should be in control, that under the Constitution, America is a guardian of what is good and right. The ambition of tyrants was disrupted, and they hated him for it. As a result, he became enemy number one. So now the tyrants inside the halls of government have weaponized the legislature, executive branch, and the judiciary beyond what it already was. They have lowered the cannons of their wrath upon the former president, seeking to sink him once and for all, even if it means going against the constitutional principles that were designed to secure our rights and protect us against such evil. They have set aside the principle of innocent until proven guilty. Nancy Pelosi proclaimed that Trump would have a chance to prove his innocence, revealing that he is already guilty, and they will be hammering away at him until he succumbs or obediently steps aside. They have a factious majority in the institutions of this country that has extended the mischiefs of their faction beyond government, and they have weaponized each part of what they have control of, setting aside the Founding Fathers' warnings about setting aside corruption of blood, habeas corpus, and the tenets of due process. It is war, and they are willing to wage it. They have made a mockery of our liberty and the principles the Constitution was written in regards to, for the purpose of eliminating their political opposition so that they may achieve power and wealth beyond what they have now. And if they achieve the power they seek, what makes anyone believe they will stop there? Tyranny never rests. It is never satisfied. It feeds until it is full and its stomach is bursting, and then it feeds some more. It grows and rules over those around it until it cannot anymore, because ultimately it destroys itself and kills everyone and everything around it. Such is the destiny of any Leviathan, if a good people refuses to resist and does not stand against it. They have weaponized our system to go after the one they hate, Donald J. Trump. But they really don't hate him, they hate you. And he epitomizes who you are. He represents what we are about. And so he's target number one. If they sink him, you're next. They start going down the line of their political opposition if they are able to sink him. This indictment is wrong. It is political weaponization of our system against the political opposition. But be careful what you wish for, Democrats. For number one, you've created a precedent of using such institutions against political enemies. Maybe Mrs. Clinton, Mr. Clinton, and the Obamas need to beware. Second, do you realize the size of the tiger you have by the tail? And I'm not just talking about Donald J. Trump, I'm talking America. You have grabbed the entire tail of the tiger known as America by the tail. You've grabbed that tail and you're trying to wrestle it to the ground. You're already in Mr. Trump's wheelhouse. This is what he excels at. But the thing is, he has the might of a movement behind him. He has the might of the support that he has garnered over the years behind him. You are not just attacking Donald J. Trump. You are not just going after the political opposition that is in the name and the personage of Donald J. Trump. You have attacked America. You have attacked all of us. You have used your might and power in a way that's against the Constitution and against the principles of this country and against the moral foundation we are based upon, so that you can go after the American people that dares to stand against you. January 6th, Donald J. Trump and America. We know who you are and what you're doing, and you have attacked us, not just Donald J. Trump. Be prepared. be prepared to have to withstand the full might of America as the anger grows, the frustration grows, and you foolishly keep tugging on the tail of that very large tiger.
And there you go. That's pretty much the kind of thing you can expect on KMET, Constitution Radio, that I host every Saturday between 1 and 3 Pacific. And one other word about that. This is a contract that I pay for. I pay for the airtime, and the contract is up on April 15th. So if you want to help out in funding that radio program, keeping it on the air, it's always a concern. It's always a push. There's always monies needed. If you want to sponsor or advertise, contact me at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com, and we can discuss how that can happen. If you want to just donate to the show, then you can do so at politicalpistachio.com or douglasvgibbs.com. Hit the donate button. We're always needing funding to help pay for things like the radio show or the equipment I use for this, or even my vehicle for all the classes that I do. I blew up my engine a few weeks ago, so we're working on that too. And of course, the new website is on the horizon. So as you visit douglasvgibbs.com, over the next 6 months, the website is going to change. It's going to become more interactive. We are going to add workshops on the video pages, things like that. So be on the lookout. douglasvgibbs.com. If you want to donate, again, douglasvgibbs.com, politicalpistachio.com. Got the addresses right there. Don't forget to subscribe. Whoop, this way down here. Yeah, right there. Hit the subscribe button, and you can get all the good videos here on this channel, wherever it may be. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.